And now we have Davon Marrero, my classmate, who's interviewing me about my perspective of marriage.
Okay. Hello, how you doing? I want to start by asking, what's your name?
Hello, my name is Mark Legagneur.
Okay, and the name of your podcast is what?
Oh, it's marriage. Is it necessary?
Is it necessary? Okay. If you
Yeah.
can give a brief synopsis of what your podcast is basically based on, or what it's about, like a quick description of it, how would you explain it?
Okay, it's about the idea of marriage. I see that society sometimes uses it as it's almost like a fashion brand or a luxury or something.
Right.
But what about love? Loving a person and wanting to be with them for the rest of your life because you actually feel something for them.
Hmm.
But it's not really seen that way. To me they use it as something you have to do that's normal. Because if you don't
Right.
do it, you don't look normal at all. You're the psycho who needs to be locked up somewhere if you're not married. That's how I see people act towards people that decide not to do it, not to get married. So that always made me wonder, even since I was a kid, like, is it really, if that's how people are gonna use the marriage idea, is it really necessary?
Right.
Because at this point, people make it sound miserable, like it's just another chore or something. Like, besides going to school and doing your homework, when you grow up, you have to get married. Oh, gee, another assignment. Now, how long do I have to be stuck with them for the rest of my life to make a point?
So you mentioned that you kind of had this thought as a kid. So when you were a kid, did you experience things, or did you see examples of people being married and you was like, "Oh, this is not for me," or did you just always just have the thought? Like, did you have an experience that made you think like that, or have you always thought that marriage wasn't necessarily needed?
Yeah, I mean, from what I saw on TV in movies and stuff, like
Yeah.
the happily ever after idea, I'm like, interesting. But then I look at the real life situation, I'm like, I see how it goes through the arguments, and not just that. I see a dialogue between like people like my parents, for example, who have been together for like years and years and who still are together. Like I see what they go through sometimes through the bad day, through their when they're having their bad times. I see what they go through, and when they're having their
Right.
good times, I see what they go through. But then I would be this kid. I'm this person since I was a kid who easily gets bored. I'm like, so I would wonder, how quick will I get bored of my partner, and will there be a divorce or something? How does
No,
that
I
go?
understand.
So that's why I would make sure that if I decide to do that, that's because I'm in love with my partner, not because I want to do something for everybody to look normal. I'm like, what's your definition of normal anyway? Being stuck with somebody like forever to prove a point.
I
Like,
understand that. So
no, I want to do it because.
would you
Go
say that you
ahead.
have I'm sorry. Would you say that you have a targeted audience? Like, do you is this podcast for everyone, or do you want to target a specific audience?
People that are married and people that are single. Like, I want to just like when I say is it necessary, like
Right.
I want them to feel the married ones. I want them to feel like to really think deep and why did I really get married? Okay, why did I really
Right.
get married?
You
Um,
like you like want to like not say that it's a bad thing to be married, but want to question. You like want to see where people minds were, like with their thought on marriage.
exactly. But the single ones, it's like, do you really want to do it? You want to do it because you feel that there's a void that needs to be filled by having a
Right.
partner next to you for um to spend the rest of your life with? And do you want that sort of happiness or something with the company of somebody? Or are you trying to show the world that you're not a normal human being because you're married, and then you want to talk down on people uh,
that are
um,
not married.
that are not married? Exactly. Like,
So, in your personal experience, do you does it seem that people kind of judge you more that you have the opinion of not to get married, or do you feel like people are kind of accepting of your position?
well, I see that people tend to, if somebody for some reason decide not to do it, not to be married, or they're waiting to be married after a while, those
Hmm.
people tend, those people get judged really quick.
Yeah,
Like,
they do.
so it's like they get judged really quick. In society, don't really mention it, but they do it all the time. They do it all the time. So it's like, okay, we don't have to treat the unmarried like they belong in jail or something, you know. It's just a simple decision like, whoa, I decided not to wear a red shirt today because I like black. It's as simple as that. I want to wear a black shirt today, not a red one. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I
But
understand.
now, other people that do it for conviction reasons, like religious and conviction reasons, which is fine.
Hmm.
That's how you feel about it. Okay, you have your own prerogative, your own perspective. But if somebody want to live their life a certain way, everybody is entitled to a choice and an opinion. So all you can do in that way is be mature enough to voice your opinion in a certain way or give advice. But if somebody decide to live their life a certain way, well, that's them. That's their decision.
Oh, yeah, I understand that.
So you don't have to. So you don't have to like keep pointing your fingers and criticize somebody because they decide to live a certain kind of way. So that's why so when people do that, like when being negative towards people who decide not to follow the crowd by by not doing what everybody else is doing, marriages would be one of the things that people treat that way.
I
Like,
understand.
and when I see that, I see that the people that do that mostly treat it not as a commitment, a deep, serious commitment, but more like a status or a fashion brand.
I understand that. So I just have like a few more questions. On when it pertains to your podcast, are you willing to have guests on that probably think the opposite opinion of you, so you can debate it and maybe they can change your mind on the opinion?
Yeah, I'm willing to hear it. I'm willing to hear it. That would be great to hear and interesting.
Okay, so lastly, if you had to choose between, I mean not choose, I'm sorry, if you had to basically try to bring someone in to your podcast and basically prove your point, what would you be your statement that you would try to tell somebody to probably not persuade them to change their opinion, but try to get them to understand your point of why marriage isn't important? I know you touched on it a little bit during the interview, but if you had like a, just a last statement to try to convince somebody that marriage necessarily isn't important, what would you try to say to them?
Oh, I'd say, I'd tell them, when it comes to marriage, it's a serious, life-changing decision and commitment. Make sure you do it because you really, really want to,
Yes.
because that's what's in your heart and you're ready to do it. Don't just do it to please everybody else. And because you're, for example, you're that one kid who don't have a Spider-Man lunchbox like everybody else, and then you're gonna be bullied for it. Make sure you don't do it to please other people,
Right.
because that's a serious decision that could affect the relationship or the marriage if you just do things to please other people. In the religious point of view, if it's your religious point of view, then stick with it and make sure it's because you have that deep passion for your God and the golden rule. Make sure that's the reason you're doing it, not to please other human beings.